Hey everyone. Just wanted to quickly recap a little bit about what we did this past Sunday. I thought it was an interesting Sunday. I had Sarah Riley join me and share a little bit about her experience that she had when she went to Haiti the previous week. And I also wanted to revisit a little bit of what we had done the previous week, where we were talking about the spirit of generosity, and we talked about doing communion and the importance of the table, um, and being generous. So we broke communion down into two steps where we asked everyone to go through and pick up the bread first. And if they were in a position to give, that they could put their offering right on the table. And I thought that was so symbolic of bringing even more depth and more meaning and more significance to the table and to what communion means, and about an offering and about receiving communion and receiving a gift from another and receiving all that Christ has for us. And so it was just a very rich experience. Dawn Pratt had done a great job of talking about the difference between giving and receiving. And so we set up the communion table behind a curtain so that people would have privacy. And so everyone would go through it, and those that wanted to give could give. And like I said, they could leave money, cash, or they could write a check and leave like the pay to line blank and just fill out the amount and sign it. And that way, um, we could then go back a second time and take the cup and then receive that which was needed. And um, it was just a very, very moving experience. And I wanted to hear back from you, the church, to see how this experience impacted your life, because it hit me really hard in a good way. It reminded me of what we talked about, the Acts 2 church. Um, and to me, it's the model of what a New Testament church in a modern day church is supposed to be, where we are looking to meet needs in our community and in our local church. And so it was absolutely incredible that people, first of all, how much people gave. I don't know the exact amount of money, but it was the table was filled with cash and with checks. It was overwhelming, actually. And then to see how many people, again, we couldn't tell who received off of the table, but what I do know is at the end, when we were done, there was still some monies left over. It looked like a good amount. And then afterwards, people kept coming up to me, and it was interesting because it was almost like they needed added permission to receive. And I was like, yes, please, receive what you need. And it was absolutely incredible, to the point where at the end of the service, like when we were all wrapped up and ready to go, everything that had been given on the table was received. And it blessed my heart. It was one of those things where it was so practicable and tangible, of the expression of God's love, and how He uses His people to meet to meet the needs of others. And so I just encourage people to be talking about this and sharing this with other people. Um, and I encourage you, if you haven't done this yet, I ask the church to go up to someone who may be unchurched or given up on church or whatever, and say, when I say the word church, what comes to mind? And I just wanted our church to be intentionally starting conversations, and maybe we're surprised by what people think about the church first and foremost, and maybe share the story about what we did with communion in the offering, and see what people's reaction were to that. So I hope that you're doing that, and I'd love to hear more about it. The other part of this was, like I said, Sarah shared about her trip to Haiti, and she went. She's a nurse, and so she went to help out in the quote unquote medical clinic, because they were underwater and they don't have what we would consider to be a mobile clinic. And it was just great to hear her share from her perspective. And it started with just learning about this trip, like literally about, I don't know if it was 6 hours or 12 hours or whatever it was. And she made a decision to go. And I thought that in itself was awesome, because we talked about Jesus was lord of the interruptions, and that he always found a way to not just be diverted and look at people as like, oh my gosh, you're inconveniencing me, but no, it was always an opportunity to demonstrate his new kingdom. And so Sarah did that, and she went down and had a great experience and touched a lot of people's lives. And the thing that struck her in the midst of all the destruction and the chaos and whatnot, there was still joy on these people's. You could read it in their face and their body language, and they were still filled with joy, and that just blew her away. Um, and it just reminds me that those of us that have much, we it's so important that we look to give back and to make a difference, not only in our church, in our local community, our neighborhoods, but also wherever we can around the world. And we just, we're blessed because we have relationships down there that we can go there and truly make a difference. But man, I'm just reminded of how far I have to go in caring, and truly showing compassion, because it's too easy to turn a deaf ear, or we live in such an insulated world that we stop listening to the cries of our neighbors, and the Haitian people are beautiful people. And so I hope that we're able to do more and more good things there. But I just wanted to leave you with this, because I wanted to read to you from Acts 2. And this is, I hope that you take some time to reflect on it. It's verses 42 to 47. It says, "They devoted themselves to the apostles' teaching and to fellowship, to the breaking of bread and to prayer. Everyone was filled with awe at the many wonders and signs performed by the apostles." And that was something too that Sarah said, that in Haiti, lots of miracles are done all the time, to the point that they expect them. A little different than we see in our culture, I think. "All the believers were together and had everything in common. They sold property and possessions to give to anyone who had need." That's a pretty high ideal for us to try to figure out. "Every day they continued to meet together in the temple courts. They broke bread in their homes and ate together with glad and sincere hearts, praising God and enjoying the favor of all the people. And the Lord added to their number daily those who were being saved." I hope that you have a great week. Wrestle with these scriptures, have some great conversations, and we'll see you Sunday. Thanks.